Welcome to the Wirraway versus Heclapar play-by-mail campaign. It is the 22nd of February 1942, catching up after a week in which I wasn't able to do any videos. Our landings at Balikpapan continue. We will lose the transport. I think we talked about that last video. There she goes. Minesweepers had already identified the minefield. I could have um, reduced the losses by including 2 or 3 like cruisers. I will at our next operation. Losing 1 transport isn't particularly important, but I do have the light cruisers available. They're not on other more important tasks, and their armor is typically proof against smaller guns. They were designed to defeat 4-inch, 4.5-inch guns. Sleeping just to make sure he doesn't have a cap trap. We're trying to disrupt the remnants of his units sitting on the oil. Nels will disrupt his defenders. Sorry, that's actually a preparatory attack. Uh, didn't know what type of ships he had in port, just that he had them. Don't want anything sorting out at an inconvenient time around our transport task forces. Airfield suppression. Decent supply hits. Sounds good. Sally's disrupting the defenders. I'd like to destroy these defenders entirely with air power and take the oil by flipping the base. No rush. B-17s from New Zealand. Not sure exactly whether he's trying to destroy that company-sized Special Naval Landing Force unit or what. No allied activity other than those B-17s so far. Hmm. Sound like a Gordon Low tank and port. Decent result here. Hmm. Continue to get the worst of the bombardment exchange, Clark. Tanks follow up on their attack here. Let's see what happens. These tend to be exaggerated, but it's still a one-sided artillery duel. So he still has three good core sitting in this hex. I'm watching for this to change as we try to draw all his reserves into this sector, because I have a reserve for both armor and infantry that if he weakens this hex, we can shift and attack towards Sian while his AT units, artillery units, and most of his theater reserve are stuck here. Um, he's defending good terrain. He's doing exactly what he should be, but that doesn't mean he will win. Speed through the end of turn cycles. Okay, let's check to see what happened today in the air. Very little. We lost the 7-point transport, but we're ashore in good order. None of these are likely to sink. If we take the base, probably leave Ihukamaru in the hex, take the base, and disband her next turn. Uh, might do the same thing with Asomaru. The damaged ships from the initial landing look like they will all make port. modest fires. Moving along. We'll send out an ASW task force to help bring them in. And now we're ready to land at Samarenda. That will keep uh, the retreat, assuming they do retreat. They'll likely go this way towards this one remaining base, or Miri, not to Samarenda, where we'll have troops landed. Set for Tarakan, which has some decent coastal guns, will bring in light cruisers to escort. We have a couple here, if memory serves. Just one. I think we've got another in Singapore or elsewhere. We'll have to find her. She might be down here. Yes. So we can get two light cruisers. Just a reminder, I think I've spoken to this before, but you look at their armor belt, 3 inches, almost 3 inches of armor belt. Uh, compare that to your heavy cruisers. We'll find a heavy cruiser here. It might be, I may have disbanded them. Yeah, I did. So the Mogamis are actually your heaviest armored uh, heavy cruisers. And you can see they have 140 in the belts and 60 in the deck and 100 in the citadel. So they are a real heavy cruiser. Your Tones are 4-inch belt, and so are your Jokais. They're 4-inch belt. So 4-inch belt versus 3-inch belt to give you a sense of your typical interwar heavy cruisers versus um, the light cruisers that were built just after World War One. Again, only the Mogamis are, they are your only sort of reasonably armored heavy cruisers, which is ironic because they were very lightly built ships. So we'll get some light cruisers in to escort to try to reduce our losses. They don't always. Uh, they can they can take the damage of the typical smaller coastal guns and no risk of sinking. And they'll return fire in the guns and not damage the oil, which is the key. So let's just check in. We'll take Balikpapan next turn, continue to disrupt these units from the air, but they're probably pretty badly disrupted from being on the losing end of an 2-to-1 attack. We took Tarapo with no damage, and it's we're repositioning and recovering damage here before attacking again. So we're ready to uh, go after Bandoing. Probably have made a mistake strategically or operationally. I well, probably should have taken the divisions I had here, left just a couple regiments to sit on these isolated troops, and massed to take Manila. I've been buying out the 2 divisions of the Korean Army, their veteran divisions, but they're still uh, a week away. And by this time, I probably could have had enough combat power to take Manila. And then, once I've driven them back, Clark and forced Mast on Clark, get them to retreat to Bataan, then just sit on them, and then switch over to take Banduings. Probably would have been the better choice. Now let's just check. So the 40th Brigade, which is part of one of those Korean divisions, we're pulling out of the Hex. Looks like it lost a mortar and a support squad, nothing critical. Looks like 30th Infantry Regiment lost a squad, as did the 36th at some point during the artillery duel over the last few weeks. Our guns are in okay shape. But again, we're definitely on the losing end of this artillery duel. So we're ready to attack at Changsha. We won't, by any stretch of the imagination, take it, but we're going to attack at Changsha and again draw on his reserves, suck up his supply while we continue to fight along our main axis of advance and prepare if he weakens uh, his defense towards Xi'an. In India, he has mostly withdrawn. We're ready to take Madras next turn. We have 3 divisions there, and he has relatively modest presence. His likely main defensive line is going to be from Bombay to Jabalpur, Jabalpur. That's probably not a Pore. This will be his main defensive line. Uh, looks like he's going to defend Hyderabad a bit, which is fine. We're focused on crossing the river, taking Asansol with its 200 heavy industry, and open up our rail lines so we can paratroop drop on Jessore and then rail in after Madras falls. We'll rail 2 divisions over, so we have at least 3 divisions to attack Calcutta and wrap up our what I'll call southern India because of the way the map is oriented campaign. All that will be left is to seize the undefended bases along the border with Burma and work our way towards Lashao. Our goal in Burma is cut off all supply to Burma and China, and then take Lashao, and meanwhile continue to grind away in China. We're maneuvering around Wuchao. He's got an exposed core here. It's in good terrain, but it won't be out of supply, but it'll be poorly supplied, and we got much better lines of communication. So we'll see if we can, with 3 divisions, take out this 1 corps, and moving a brigade in behind this 3 corps or 2 corps that are sitting in good terrain here. See if we can force him to withdraw. We'll see what happens. Okay. Well, just a reminder where we are on points. We're only about 2-1. This is primarily because we haven't destroyed the defenders in the Dutch East Indies yet, and he's fought carefully in China, only defending good terrain. But we'll continue to, I think, make progress. We're not going to be able to auto victory unless something really unusual happens. Notice air-to-air losses are very much in our favor. Destroyed on the ground, very much in our favor. Destroyed in the flak, destroyed by flak, still in his favor. and operational losses in his favor, but we're close to not quite 2 to 1 in the air, which is again about where it should be. Nothing much happening at the moment in the South Pacific. You can see he has, it looks like he's reinforcing Suva. We'll send subs in to check it out. Um, I really have a division, and probably could have tried to take Suva, but I just don't stretch. No, that would be a tremendous risk. I've got carrier division in the Aleutians. We finished up our Aleutian campaign, other than reinforcing the good bases, building them out, and grabbing one of the bases here as essentially a transit base. He no real sign he's reinforcing Kodiak yet. We do have the option of advancing in this theater. We're set up to do it, but really, you have to go all in on India, and his effective defense of China means we're not going to be able to free up those divisions. And remember our rules, you have to buy out the Manchukuo army. You can't just march them into China. So I'm spending all my points buying out Manchukuo divisions, and right now they're going to Philippines primarily. Also, that leaves me short artillery compared to what many Japanese players are used to having in China, because they can take all that Manchukuo artillery and just rail it in and use it. I have to buy them out unit by unit. Anyway, looking forward to our next chance to talk.